I'll go back to my personal story. Personal story was, I was just a carpenter in Hawaii, just trying to get ahead, blah, 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 like everyone else. And I'd never read newspapers. I didn't own a TV. I had my own world, like a lot of people. But I went on a vacation with my son, who's grown, and we looked at a book. This is also not on my appendix, Permaculture. Permaculture. Permaculture is a philosophy of land use that's very long-term and very harmonious. So he was studying a permaculture book, and in the beginning of the permaculture book was this graph, this bell-shaped curve of peak oil. And on this side of it, it says the period of social unrest, because things are breaking down when energy is getting less and less, more expensive, and there's less available, and cities and countries are falling off the cliff. This is a heavy time, and it says that. And it says the population went up with oil, and it's going to go down with oil, because it was with oil that we had the Green Revolution and produced so much food. That's how it happened. And when you don't have oil, you go back to animal power and people power, and the fertilizers come from natural gas. So fossil fuels are responsible for the rise in population, and with their decline will come less food for people. So this is the time of social unrest. When I was 16, I was living in Los Angeles. I was in high school, there was a book, and I'm looking at the book. This is where the water comes from for the Los Angeles basin. It gets pumped over the hill from the Colorado River, over the mountains to LA. I'm 16, I read this book. I look up, I can remember everything, a room like this kind of. I look up and said, I'm out of here. Those pumps can't last forever. This place is history. I'm 16 years old. I get it. This is fake. This is not natural, it won't work. So I have that in my mind, okay? That's what led me to the Hopi Indians. To look for, I'm talking here to Nick, who I shared a story where I visited the Hopi Indians when I was 20 and was taken down into the kiva with the elders, very respected elders. And I was looking for a community. I knew that the city was an artificial thing that couldn't continue. So I was already in that mind when, many years later, 25, 30 years later, we open this book, Permaculture, see the graph, the bell-shaped curve. I look at that and I say to my son, this is for real. This is for real. I knew things were going to go down at some point, but I had waited a long time and they hadn't gone down. But now I saw the mechanism of how things were going to collapse. It was going to be because of oil. I saw it. So we came home. My wife, she was overseas at the time. My son and I hung out together for a month. And we went on the internet and we started watching videos on peak oil. We went from one subject to another, and we got our minds completely blown away. Some of the peak oil sites were talking about 9/11. What are they talking about 9/11 for? So, saw some videos. I'm watching 9/11 loose change. I'm going, nah, forget it. No, this can't be true. No. Then, World Trade Center 7, 5:30 in the afternoon on 9/11, falls down perfectly. Now, my friends here, it's the first time I've been in New York. I got here, I saw all these tall buildings, so I started counting. What does 42 stories look like? Well, 42-story building is really a big building. And now I know when I watch that video how immense a structure disappeared and turned to dust in 10 seconds. But when I saw that on 9/11 loose change, I just went, oh shit. It's real. This is an inside job. No one in a cave in Afghanistan planted all that, told the firemen there's going to be a bomb, got all the firemen out, dropped it, and then didn't... I was with my mom and my family at 9/11. We were actually in Alaska, and we spent 2 days watching the TV at 9/11 in total shock. I never saw a picture of World Trade Center 7 falling. I never saw that. So this is years later. I'm watching this 9/11 loose change video, and oh shit. That changed my world. That was the beginning of my real political awareness, when I saw that fall. To me, that's the most amazing. So then we went from video to video. I ordered every book that was written on 9/11. I read them all. I was pissed. I was pissed because I had been lied to, and I had been emotional about it. I was angry at Osama bin Laden and that bad guy. I had been fooled, and I didn't like that. So I studied everything I could. Well, we went on. We studied one thing after another. One thing led to another, and something led to the Disclosure Project video. And then I saw that. My son and I are just like, there couldn't be better witnesses in the world to testify to this. This is real. This is real. So this was my political awakening. What happened after that was, I was like, they were showing fake Osama bin Laden tapes on TV. For the listening audience out in YouTube world, there was videos of Osama bin Laden saying this and that would go by very quickly on the TV, and that's all people got. But now we can look at those very slowly on the internet, and we can see it's not Osama bin Laden. It's a fake. Well, I was aware of this, so I was waiting. I said, wow, they're keeping him alive. This fake thing alive. They're going to do another attack. When's it going to happen? What's going to happen here? So I'm waiting for that. Then there's an announcement in Mexico. There's a big pandemic or something's happening. 800 people dead in Mexico City. The city's clamped down. It ends up 800 people never died. That was just a big lie. But that we didn't know till later. So what the controllers needed, they needed a way, with this financial collapse that was organized around the housing bubble, they needed a mechanism to bring about total control of the people. Their mechanism was going to be a pandemic. So in 2005, the World Health Organization got 193 member nations to sign protocols giving over their sovereignty, basically, to the World Health Organization if there was a pandemic. Because if there's a pandemic, we don't want this to spread, we don't want this to get out of control. Someone needs to organize this, coordinate it. We're going to coordinate it for you, World Health Organization. And do you agree? Yes, we agree. Fine, we agree. Okay, that means if we tell you to take vaccines, you'll do it. If we tell you to quarantine certain areas, you'll do it. If we tell you to move certain populations, you'll do it. Yes, 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 we'll do it. Fine. The industry is building up for a pandemic. The pandemic industry, pharmaceutical industry. They're building up for it. So what happens? Swine flu comes. I'm totally on it. I'm like, what's this? I'm totally on it. Then Center of Disease Control announces there's 4 cases in Texas. I'm on it every day, going to their website, 4. I didn't write it down, but every day I'm watching. What are the numbers? It's going up, it's going up. And then I figured it out. Every 8 days, it's going up by a power of 10. So after 8 days, it was 40. After 8 days, it was 400. After 8 days, it's 4,000. 40,000, and then they stopped counting. That's weird. What happened here? I'm watching all this. I'm going to tell you everything I know about this. While it was still in Mexico, there was a channeled being. Okay, oh, ho, ho, ha, 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 channeled being. Okay, I agree. Is it real? I don't know. But the channeled being, it's the Matthew channel. I don't have that on the appendix, but it could be looked up. The Matthew channel, it's a woman who channels her deceased son. Okay, that sounds crazy, but Moses channeled someone too, so let's not say it was that crazy. But is it accurate? I don't know. The Matthew channel comes out and says, don't worry about this thing in Mexico City, it's not going anywhere. This disease has been neutralized, it's not going anywhere. I'm reading this, I go, right. What do I know? I don't know if it's true or not. I'm a scientist. I don't just believe things. I turn over the rock and see what it is. Okay, he said that, fine. But it ended up being true. Nothing happened. The, quote, swine flu, the killer flu in Mexico wasn't killing people. It wasn't doing that. It wasn't creating a panic. Uh-oh. Now I understand. It was supposed to create a panic. There was laws in this country. The National Guard was already mobilized for this pandemic. I was living in Hawaii. I still have connected to Hawaii. The governor of Hawaii, this is the beginning of my website, KawaiiTruth.com. The governor of Hawaii comes out and says, oh, everyone's going to get the vaccine. The National Guard is going to be administering this and organizing this. This is very early. It's not a panic, and it never ends up a panic. But the National Guard, it was all organized for that, not just in the United States, but in most countries. They were ready to go. In fact, they kept fighting they hoped it would happen. There was a website, theflucase.com, which was very important website, very important. And because of my financial support of Jane Burgermeister, and because of my association with CSETI, and my personal conversations with some of the top people in CSETI, and now because I'm supporting a woman named Deborah Dupre, who's exposing what's happening in the Gulf of Mexico, I'm very much watched. My emails are watched, I'm watched. There was a photographer this morning when I got off the subway. That's all I can tell you. He got off, I walked right into his camera, he took it, I just stopped, I watched him walk away. There was nothing to take a picture of in the dark subway. I want the controllers who watch this, hi camera, that's okay with me. That's okay. I want you to watch me. I want you to hear everything I say, because I'm the guy who's going to keep you from getting lynched, because I understand in a broad view what's important, and what's important is that these people are given a chance not to go to hell.